Hello, welcome to Patrice's Projects. Today we're doing a long overdue project. We're going to be transplanting these little onions, and you can see some have 4 to a cell. I hope you can see that. Is that any better? Anyway, today we're going to be transplanting these onions, which are candy onions. They're supposed to be sweet, large onions, into this shoebox. Isn't it cute? This was a 99-cent store shoebox. Has a little bit of a smell, kind of sweet. I washed it out really well with hot water and dish soap, so it should be fine. I already, 2 days ago, transplanted my Kelsey onions, and I wanted to see how they did with the transplant before going ahead and doing the other onions, and they have done fantastically. Onions are pretty tough, though. A lot of people will overseed and put, like, I don't know, that'd be 6 or 8 in one little cell, and then separate, just kind of tear the roots apart when they get a little bit older than this. But I want to separate them now because, do you see it? Little roots coming out the bottom. And the longer I wait, the more I'm going to destroy on those roots. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my potting mix blend because they don't need the starting mix now. They've already developed their roots very well, and they've sprung up well. I've been taking good care of them. They're nice and strong and healthy. So they should do fine with the potting mix, which is a little bit more coarse than the starting mix. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that into here, and I'll show you what I do. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with putting holes all the way down, a whole finger depth down, a little more than an inch apart. Or that might be too far considering how many onions I have. But I don't really want them too close, so let's see what I end up with here. That's not too bad. I'd like to get 4 across here. It's a little bit crowded, but I have a lot of onions. Those are a little further apart than they need to be, but that's okay. I'm gonna finish doing that after I put some of the onions in, because what I noticed when I was doing the other one is I was having to take the knife because the onions are so long and make the hole a little bit deeper. So I'll disturb the soil by putting them all right now anyway. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get a couple more. Okay, the way I get them out of the pot is with the knife. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to slide the knife. I hope that's clear. I'm going to slide the knife right down the side and rub it all the way down the side and loosen it up a little bit. See if the plug wants to come out easy, and it doesn't. And that's why I noticed with the others it just kind of came apart, which is fine. So just kind of loosen it like you would brownies out of a pan, except this is going to fall apart, not like your brownies. And then I lift the tray out a little bit in case the roots are trapped underneath. And then I go ahead and I try and grab just one out of it with the knife. These are tangled up pretty good. Separate them like that. And again, I take the knife. You could use a popsicle stick, which would probably be better for this part of it, but I don't happen to have a full-size. Oh, I do have a full-size popsicle stick. I see it right there in my pencil holder. And this onion was planted only as far or as deep as the bottom. The green shows all the way down, and then where it starts turning white, that's where you want to bury it to, so that it's buried at the same depth that it was prior. And what I do is I just kind of push the dirt in a little bit around it like that to try and get good contact with the soil. And then when I water it in, it'll tighten the soil up around the roots a little bit better. So let's get that other one that I pulled out of there in here to protect its roots. And that one has a lot of roots, and it can be difficult to try and get all that in there. So I just try and tuck it in, root by root, You want to make sure all of the roots get in there. If you damage a root or one breaks off, that's fine. As long as it has some roots, most of its roots to continue on living, then it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Because like I said, onions are pretty tough. And when you buy onion sets, that's when you buy this pretty dried up looking onion. And the roots just look wiry and dry. And here we go again. And you plant them, water them in, and almost all of the onions will spring back to life. It's amazing what onions can do. Okay, I've loosened it up good enough. Now I have to lift up on the tray. Get it out of the bottom tray. And then try and pop it out. Let's see if any are ready to come out. Yeah, this one is. And that's how I plant them. I'm going to go ahead and get this all planted out, and we'll see what I end up with. Try and get them as far down there as I can. Okay. And you see I put it just as far as it was in the soil, where the green is exposed and the white is just right there. Okay, let me finish this up and then we'll see what it looks like when I'm done. One thing that I forgot to mention is I could actually be planting these in the garden at this stage, and that they should do fine because the groundhog saw a shadow or something like that. But anyway, like, spring is right around the corner. I believe it's February 9th today. And if my garden were ready for these right now, I would probably be putting most of them out there. But because I do enjoy growing things in the garden room, I'd still have some in a pot in here. And see how they do here compared to there. I like to do comparisons to see how I can best do it. But for right now, this is how I can best do it. They're a little bit big to be sitting in those little cells with that many. And this way they have a lot more soil to spread their roots out. So I'm going to go ahead again and finish this up. And then I'll show you when it's all done. Okay, I've got as many as will fit. I have 6 left over. 6 left over. I'll put those into a pot maybe outside. And you see, they're not all standing up just right, but I'm going to level the soil out. I ended up with more soil over here because I worked toward this direction. So I'm kind of just shoving some of it lightly back to the other side, making sure to not bury the stems too deep. And just stand them up a little bit. Once you get them back under the light or in the sunshine, however you're growing yours, I'm going to put mine under the T5 lights. They'll stand right back up, just like you saw the Kelseys were standing up real nice and tall. As tall as they are anyway. And now, that looks good enough to me, because it's going to all settle down anyway. I just needed to make sure that there wasn't more dirt on this side than the other, so all the water would be going one way. But the way I water, that wouldn't happen anyway, because I'm using a dish soap bottle, and I washed it out real well. I find that this works pretty darn well, because it's not too hard on the plants. You can really control how much water you're putting. This is not fertilized water, because I have the soil that already has some bat guano and some worm castings. I added some worm castings, not a lot, because it's already fertilized. And so I'm going to be using plain water on these for the next couple waterings. I'm going to water them in pretty well. This soil was a bit more dry. It was moist, but it was a bit more dry than I'd prefer. So when I see, I have no holes on the bottom of this box, and I purposely did that because I noticed that the more mature plants use their water up so quickly, you don't have to worry too much. So underneath, what I'm doing is I'm looking to see if any moisture has reached the bottom, you know, looking for the dark spots, and I see nothing yet. When I start to see that, that's when I know that I'm done. But from the weight of it, I think I'm pretty well there because there's a lot of coconut coir in here. Not a lot, but both the potting mix and what I added. And the coconut coir can absorb a lot of water and hold on to it and give it to your plants as they need it. So, I think that's going to do it. Well, it's time for me to shuffle all these plants around. As you see, the sun is now coming in the windows. And I like to move the plants around on the shelves, get them out from under the grow lights and into real sunlight because that's a lot stronger. So, I got work to do. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and do that now, and then click the bell button so you get notifications of my upcoming videos. It'll probably be a little while until I am putting these into the garden because I'm having that privet tree cut down soon. I'm so excited about that. And then I have to clear the bed, you know, scrape all those roots out of there and such like that. Re-amend the soil, and then I'll be putting the onions in. So that part of this onion series will come later. So anyway, thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye.